Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your moms would practically build themselves. I'm going to take some of my texture paint. This one is the kind of a reddish brown color. Oh yeah, nice and goopy. And what I'm going to do with this, remember these? See how that's coming along nicely? I'm going to add some of this in the areas where the white glue isn't. Trying to be careful not to cover up the holes. It's okay if I get it on the white glue. It's not going to hurt anything. I just didn't want it all over there because of the effect I'm going after. Okay. That one. On these two, we're going to try out the gray. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to paint it all over. Use some of the brownish color. Third color. There you go. Okay, we've changed venues here real quick. Got dark and cold out there, so we'll continue on in here. I'm taking some Sigvault Burgundy, which is a contrast color, and putting some water with it. And I'm now going to go over all of the parts that I had the glue. Use this British Crimson from Model Master. It's an acrylic. I've got plenty of it, so I'm going to use this on some of my bases. Now real quick, I'm going to make a couple of washes, again using just an old paint bottle. I've already made this up, but what it is, this is an enamel wash, by the way. You can make an acrylic wash if you like. I just would prefer on these bases to use an enamel wash. Anyway, what I'm doing is just getting some interior green, kind of a nice, gross looking color. a gross green. We used to call it something else in high school that I won't repeat. Anyway, I'm going to take some of that, and I filled just the bottom of this with it, and I used some mineral spirits. This is what I used. You can use odorless thinner, whatever you want, but this is what I used to make this. All right, then I made this one up. This one is a mixture of an old dark sea blue it's so old the sticker came off of it. This is an old military color from Floquil, so you know it's good. I took that and a little bit of just Tester's bright red, not the dark red, but the lighter red, and same thing to come up with this kind of a purple-ish wash, and that's what I'm going to use next. Okay, so on these lead sinkers, what I'm doing is I'm going to use some Mr. Surfacer 1000 that I've got. Mr. Primer Surfacer. This actually works pretty good on the metal parts, I found. So I'm going to put some of that on the little metal sinkers here, so that we can better apply our paint, our dry brush paint. There we go. Okay, and wait for that to dry. Okay, so I am going to use for my dry brushing, I want kind of a rose color, or a pale terracotta maybe, something to that effect. So what I'm going to do is I've got this old U.S. Desert Storm tan, and I mean it is old. Some of that down, and some old, as you can see, red oxide, and I'm going to mix these two together. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. Just you can use a you can use another brand, whatever you want to use, just as long as it's something in this rosy looking line. Okay, so now these are dry from what we did last night. A little bit less paint on there. It's okay for this first time what I'm doing. And I'm just going to go over this whole thing real quick, including the stuff that I painted on there, or painted on there. Yeah, the texture, sorry. Just to lighten that up. Okay, now that this is dry, we're going to go over this one lightly. Okay, and just to show you, I'm going to go over this one as well with this color real quick. If I get too much on here, it's okay. I think we'll be just fine. Okay, there's that. Come back over this one again real quick. We will do another highlight with another color, so this just kind of starts blending it from that dark purple-ish to a lighter tone. Now for the green that I mixed up, I'm going to just take an old brush and I'm going to drop it. Again, this is more of a stain. This isn't an actual trying to paint anything. Just randomly in spots around this. Remember, this acts like a wash. Okay. Okay, now that these are dry, you can see that it kind of looks like we spilled a little pea soup in there, which is fine. I'm going to come back with my I don't know, it's kind of a brownish purple color. And I'm going to put it in the areas where I didn't put the green. At least I'm going to try. And that'll bring some of that burgundy tone back. And move over to this one. Okay, I'll let that dry and head to the next step. Okay, so for this particular dry brush, I'm going to try this US Desert Storm tan that I've got out here. But you know what? Just any tan. I mean, Wraithbone White will work from Citadel. I've got a Radome tan that I've used from Mission Models. So just kind of whatever you've got that's a nice light, pale, tannish color. And then I'm going to go over this whole thing with it. I want to get the highlights, the craters mostly. See how nice and dark this one is? Let's brighten that up. And you might have to do a couple of applications depending on how you feel you want it to look. See how this turns out when it's dry. By the way, I took the time while things were drying to paint these edges black so that they're ready to go. Okay, now this is a fun one. And you could do another coat if you feel you're not happy with it. So, you guys know me. I love stuff that glows. I love toxic sludge, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, we're going to make some of that. I'm going to take some realistic water from Woodland Scenics. And I'm just going to fill the bottom of my cup there. I don't need a lot. And I want to use an acrylic paint. I've got a bunch of different greens that'll fit the bill, but this particular one, oh yeah, this is my glow green. Craft paint. Guess we better do it here first because I don't want to. There we go. It's not wanting to come out very well. Okay. I'm going to take an old brush and I'm going to mix that in there. Ooh. And you could do whatever color you want. You could mix yellow in there, glow in the dark green, you know, whatever suits your fancy. Just put a little bit more in there. Okay. A couple of different ways I can do this. One, I'm going to use an old brush. Find a good old brush here, okay? And then I'm just going to scoop some of this down in the low areas. Sorry, get you a better view here. These pock-shaped areas, I'm going to drop some of this in. Not going to fill it all the way to the top, but close, because it will shrink. You might have to put a second application of this. You may have to. It just depends on how you feel. Okay, so there's that one. Whoops. Clean up on aisle 5. Okay, so this didn't exactly go everywhere I wanted it to go. So just take a paper towel and we'll wick up from the area that we don't want it. Okay, we'll come back when that's dry and see how it looks. All right, let's take a final look, even though some of these aren't dry yet. So the ones here in the front are dry. These are some that I did earlier on. And you can see some of the different variations on how those turned out. These back here, the ones that we just did, and so they are still drying. You can see I used a different green on some of these, like this one to this one. But you can see, yes, it's dry. It's kind of nice to have some little skulls to throw on there. And here's our, our cork base. And very quick and simple. You can see how that turned out. And the cork base and all that other fun stuff. So this is just using some of that Utah sand that I have, direct glue to the base. That's one thing you could do, very quick and easy. Just regular soil, regular dirt, whatever, that'll work too. This one is using one of those mediums that I made. This one here. And then just after it dried, using a little dry brush technique on it. And this one is a mixture of the red sand and just some regular dirt from the backyard. And put a few little things on that base, and that's how that turned out. So again, even though I'm doing this for Warhammer right now, imagine you could do this for other things, like particularly, and I didn't highlight this one at all. This is how that stuff dried. I thought this would be great. This fighter pilot in the Pacific in World War II, standing there at the edge of the beach just before the airfield, taking in the sights. So again, hopefully you learned something from this. Hopefully there's some techniques here you can use on something else.